Okay, welcome. For those in the room.
You don't have sound.
Huh? No, I don't. We're okay. They can hear. I have literally the speaker right here.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and get started with the Pledge of Allegiance. Okay, Ron and Sharon, can we go ahead and why don't you come up and lead us, Ellis?
Thank you.
We all know the words. Join us. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Someday.
Good to see you. Every day.
You should have been looking at.
There are no forms.
Look at the camera. He was leading.
I was looking at this camera, but it's
Okay. Yeah, we're on this camera here. Welcome everybody online. Thank you for joining. Tonight, we will be voting on several races. Over the past several months, we've heard from candidates for the United States Senate. Here today. We also, can I have no conversation? State Senate District 5. State Senate District 9. The Supervisor District 4. Jean Josey, who is running for Mayor of Dublin. And so we are going to be voting on endorsements for those races. I realize that people can still potentially pull paperwork up to, I'm not sure what date, sometime in December, but and the central committees are doing their pre-endorsements in October. So that's why everything was kind of pushed up this go around because of the timing with the central committee. We like to get ahead before the county party does their endorsements. And we often done early endorsements and races. So that's why we're doing this tonight. I do see some folks online. The way the process is going to go tonight, because we already have heard from all of these candidates, we are going to open up the floor for about 15 minutes for each race, for members to argue the point for the candidate of your choice, who you want in these various positions. And then after the 15 minutes, we will close discussion. You have already received a ballot for members who are in good standing. You did receive the ballot today. That open through tomorrow. And we can talk about the exact time. I see Richard has his hand up. So yes, Richard. Go ahead.
Jackie, sorry, would you mind standing behind the podium? It's really hard to hear you on Zoom.
I'm sorry. Is that better?
Oh, that's much better. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So do I need to repeat what the rules are? So we're going to spend 15 minutes on each race. Members, and if you could raise your virtual hand. I do see some comments in the chat. Let's see. I see really quiet. Okay, not well. Okay, is it better now? Yeah, okay. So the first race, yes, Ellis, you have a question?
Could you explain to everybody here percentage that each candidate needs in order to get endorsement?
Yes.
that you only send it to eligible members.
Correct. Our bylaws state, and Alice is asking for clarification on what is the percentage that a candidate must meet in order to get our endorsement. And this comes straight from our bylaws. All endorsements held under the provision of the club bylaws require both a minimum of 6 votes and a minimum of 60% votes of eligible members present and voting. If either criteria is not met for any one of these candidates or issue, the position of the organization shall be no endorsement of that candidate. And we did have this happen before. If you remember with the DA race, the first go round, we did not endorse. It was split. And then when they got down to 2 candidates in the next election cycle, then we were able to endorse in that race. So let's see. The other thing is if you wish to abstain. So if you do not want, you do not have to vote for every one of these. If these are not required, you can just, let's say you want to vote in the Senate, but you don't really have any strong feelings about the county supervisor seat. So you can abstain. It does not go towards the percentage when you do not vote in an abstention. The yes, it pretty much just calculates all of the votes and will give me a percentage at the end. So you can abstain by not voting. You can pass on certain races and vote for others. You do have to have a valid email to do this. For people in the room today that have not received a ballot, I do have paper ballots here that can be filled out. Does anybody need a ballot today?
Can you just explain who you said you emailed the ballots?
Correct.
Say where, what the ballot would look like. I'm not finding it in.
Yeah, and I will go ahead and get it to you again. If you didn't get it, let me know and I will get it. It's it came from the Google Drive and it says Tri-Valley Democratic Club is sending you a Google form. And it has, so check your spam folder. Sometimes the forms end up there.
Media, you say?
Yeah, and if you didn't get it, I will send it, Jean, I'll send it to you upon the conclusion of this. So, anybody else did not receive the ballot that is a member? Okay, I will get you a paper ballot to fill out. And then I will just put your, if you're filling out a paper ballot, put your email and name so that I can send you the receipt. So you have a receipt of your vote. Okay.
When is it closed?
And remember the ballots for folks, you do need to be in good standing. So I see some folks here who said they did not get a ballot. I'm going to take all these names down and email them once I validate that you have paid your dues. So remember, you do have to be a member in good standing to vote. If there's any debate about, you know, I did pay, let me know, and then we'll figure that out with the treasurer. So let's go on with the discussion, and then I will come back and follow up with everybody who did not get a ballot. Unless, Richard, do you have access to the ballot? Can you send? Or no, I take that back because I need to validate their members first. So I will do that after the meeting.
Their email is somebody who's not a member, you don't count.
Right.
Inform the voters.
Right, but they're going to want to know if their vote didn't count. So, because I don't want people to think they're voting and then find out they're not a member in good standing and we can't count their ballot. So the voting will be closed tomorrow. So we have time to get this to members who, okay, I see Helen, Thad and Phyllis. So it looks like we got some work to do to get you guys some ballots. So don't worry. If you're a member, we will follow up with you at the end of this call. I will get these to you tonight. And then I'll follow up with you to make sure that everything's okay, that you got it. And let's start with our first race. And again, we're gonna do 15 minutes. So it's about 11 after. And the first race is US Senate. I'm gonna open it up to the club to and the first speaker, and we're gonna give you about 2 minutes to make your case. We're gonna go ahead and call on Amy.
Hey everyone, my name is Amy Heinscheich. My pronouns are she, her, and hers, and I live in Contra Costa County in Clayton. I'm on with the Barbara Lee campaign, so I don't want to be misrepresenting that. I am actually on with the campaign, but I chose to be on with the campaign because I deeply believe that Barbara Lee is the best person for this job. I lived in Salt Lake City, Utah in 2001 and the subsequent years. And her sole vote against the unlimited powers for the president to just go to war was something that made me like believe that there is somebody who could be like Barbara Lee in politics. I thought that that was just completely unfathomable, that there could be somebody who could really speak for us, for the people who feel like we need to be represented. And at that particular time, the beating of the war drums was so loud and it's cacophonous. It was just drowning out everything. But she decided that she was going to stand up. And specifically, myself being in Utah, it was just overwhelming. And I didn't even dream big enough to think that she could actually represent me, herself, but just that somebody like her could represent me. And now I have this amazing opportunity to hopefully actually be represented by herself. This is just really just a dream come true for me that we could get this close to having Barbara Lee as our California state senator. And it's not just that moment, that one moment that I lived through like so many other folks of us in 2001 and just feeling like war was not the answer at that time, and her being the person who spoke up for us. She's pro-union, and I'm very pro-union and pro-worker. She wants to treat the homelessness crisis and the converging climate crisis, the housing and the climate crises, like they're actual crises, and react accordingly as if we really need to take this seriously. That's very important to me. Obviously, for all of us who have anybody that in our lives that are touched by HIV or AIDS, that her response and her leadership in that way is very important. So Barbara Lee speaks for me. I don't want to go on and on forever. But I really think that she's gotten along well with her colleagues for many decades now. She's the co-chair of policy in the steering committees. She's on the budget and appropriations committees, and she knows how to get things done. And I would be very, very grateful if you all would consider casting your ballot for Barbara Lee for United States Senate. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else want to speak on behalf of their favorite candidate? We have. Of course you can. You're a member. Come on up. Jacob. Watch this cord though.
Yes.
And stick to the 3 minutes because we don't
Yes.
want to be unfairly favoring.
No, I will, absolutely. No, I just wanted to speak for myself and say that the baseline of my campaign is based around being present daily, which is entirely possible. If these other candidates are, more capable or more experienced and they were to promise to show up on a daily basis, then in that case, I would, kind of endorse them. Obviously, I'm going to endorse myself first because I have the most faith in myself. But if these other candidates were to say that they, would show up on a daily basis and live stream themselves throughout the process of their careers as senators, I would also support them. In addition to that, like, I'm not entirely partisan on where I stand. My main topic is really just showing up. This endorsement is valuable. At the same time, no party affiliation would possibly, add a whole nother list of potential voters to the ballot on my behalf, because my topic is pretty nonpartisan. So in that case, I personally stand on the left side. I personally agree with the Democrats. At the same time, my main stance is very central, and it really has to do with the presence and just being there and being available on a regular basis for your constituents. But that's everything I wanted to say. My name's Jacob Farmos.
Watch the board. Thank you. Thank you. And let's see, what have we pinned there? We pinned on somebody. Okay, let's pin this. Okay, anybody else want to speak on behalf of any of the candidates for US Senate? Okay, okay, I guess I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next race. The next race is a California State Senate District 5. We heard from Rhodesia Ransom, Miguel Villaputa, Edith Villaputa. And then again, you can also write in other if you choose to do so. Who would like to speak? Anybody on behalf of one of these candidates? Ellis. Here, and just be careful of this cord.
Stand behind the podium. Do I look okay, Richard? Yeah. I can't.
Ellis, you're good.
Okay. Oh, now
You look fabulous, Ellis.
here. That's cool. As I said, I'm going to speak on behalf of Rhodesia Ransom. I had the pleasure of inviting her to speak here and spoke to her extensively on the phone. And when I finally got to meet her, it was very nice doing that. But what I told her was, and this is what I'm telling all candidates, including Jacob here, that voters look for two things. They look for trust and they look for competence. And where do you get the trust? It has to do with the narrative. So I'm going to paraphrase Rhodesia's narrative as best I can. That when her two sons, I believe, had graduated high school, they were about to go on to college, she found that they didn't have many Black mentors. She's a member of the Black community. And she and her husband, using out-of-pocket expenses, they paid for it. They started an organization with Black mentors talking to young college entry people who didn't have anybody in their families who went to college, who didn't have professionals that they spoke to. And this is what her motivation was. And I believe the charity still goes on today. They've gotten some sources of income, and it's grown considerably. The story made me trust her. I asked her who had an influence in her life. It was her grandmother who took her to demonstrations and political things. So she had this person that changed her life. And she wanted to change the lives of some of the young people who were going on to college from her community. As far as her being competent, she's the regional director for Josh Harder, which means she runs the office, his congressional office. I believe it's in Tracy. And she has considerable experience. She's run for the Board of Supervisors in San Joaquin County, where she lives. She doesn't know a lot of people here. In fact, as the three Democratic candidates are for that seat are all from San Joaquin County. So we've all they have here, and it's up to us to talk about them and to sell them in the Tri-Valley. About a third of the district is the Tri-Valley, 2/3 is San Joaquin County. I'm asking you to vote for Rhodesia Ransom. Thank you.
Nicely done. Thank you, Ellis. Okay, Kyoko, go ahead and unmute yourself.
Yes, I'm also for Rhodesia Ransom. Probably you have not really known about this, but lots of us worked in Tracy Go team back in 2018 to elect Josh Harder. She was not there since she was already elected as a city council member in Tracy, but she was behind the scene who actually supported Becky Elliott, who started the Go Team concept. So that's how I met Rhodesia, and she is already elected official, and yet she was a grassroots organizer who cares about people who live in the community. And between those three of them, she is the only one who knows even remotely about Tri-Valley. I think other candidates didn't even know where their districts are. That's not going to be a good representatives for us. So I would like your endorsement for Rhodesia. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, any other comments? Yes, we are. Yes, we are recording. Okay, we're gonna move on to the next. We're gonna get through this meeting in record time. Okay, we're gonna move on to the next race, which is California State Senate District 9. And we had Tim Grayson and Marisol Rubio who spoke to our members. Is there anybody that would like to speak on behalf of either one of these candidates? Okay. We have Dr. Ronald Lawrence coming up, and watch these cords. You're probably used to cords.
We're familiar with both candidates. Tim Grayson's been in the area for a long time and has pretty decent record, which is sort of a middle of the road and somewhat moderate record, where we know much better a person who's from our ranks, Marisol Rubio, who we've worked with, we've trained, and we've seen her grow, both in terms of her ability to understand what are the priorities of the community, what are the needs of the people within that community, and the way that she can express herself and therefore persuade other people in order to get the proper things done, which of course is what we endorse here at TVDC, which we consider to be the proper perspective. And of course, that's a wonderful thing for us to have a somewhat unified point of view. And Marisol is right within the ballywick. She's right in the center of what our values and what our goals are. And she's proven herself, although for a short period of time in the San Ramon City Council, she's proven herself in a number of community positions. I mean, it's just phenomenal, the list of things that she has and offices that she's served on. I was looking for the word resume, but couldn't find it until now. So she's also personable, and I think that's important in terms of her ability to persuade, which in essence is the job of a candidate. And this is important if she's moving up to another level beyond the city council. She'll need to not only look good and speak good, but also transmit a sense of honesty and trustworthiness, as Ellis mentioned pretty regularly. So I think she's learned her lessons quickly and well from our mentoring people here and in other local political forums. So I wholeheartedly endorse Marisol Rubio for this position. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, anybody on Zoom that would like to speak? Richard?
Thanks, Jackie. I want to plus one to everything that Ron just said about Marisol, and I also want to add that she is so genuine as a person, and she is very unapologetic in the way she carries herself as well as the things that she believes in. She has lived experience with a lot of the things that she talks about, and without trying to trash anybody, there are some questionable votes and stances that her opponent in this race has taken on a myriad of issues. And I would hope that this body considers holistically all of those factors. And for that, I would strongly encourage Marisol to be in your consideration. Thank you.
And Kyoko?
I second that. Especially, I just wanted to make sure everybody knows when the Grayson, Assembly Member Grayson came and talked about NAR's score about abortion, that was not very genuine answer. He gained that poor score because he actually did not voted against discriminates the not the abortion but miscarriage. That was a Buffy Wicks bill, and he just kind of avoided and actually attacked NAR's way of scoring. That was totally unacceptable. So that alone to disqualify him for me, but also his climate voting record is very poor, even though he claimed he is the champion. So I would rather have somebody who talks straight and answer the question. That is Marisol, and I have known her since 2016. And I agree with doctor. She grew so much, and that's a good thing. Fast runner, and very dedicated for everything she does. And she would be a good representative for us. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Let's see. Sorry, Kyoko, I want to remove that pin on you. That I did. Okay, anybody else would like to make comments regarding California State Senate 9? Okay, let's move on. And we'll open up for discussion regarding Alameda County Supervisor, District 4. And we have Jennifer Steen, Esther Goolsby, Nate Miley. And by the way, these are in different orders. Everybody that gets one of these ballots, they're all in different orders, and the computer just sorts them that way so that we're not giving any priority to one candidate or another. So who would like to speak about this race? Anyone? Any comments? Ann Jenks. And we met with her on Sheriff Oversight. Yay. Go ahead and unmute yourself, Ann.
Good evening. I hope it's okay that I came, even though I'm not a Tri-Valley resident, and as such, I'm not a member, but I like you folks. I do want to make it clear that I'm not speaking in any particular capacity, representing our rather ragtag Sheriff Oversight Coalition or the Coalition for Police Accountability that hasn't taken a position on this race. But as somebody who does a lot of work on Sheriff Oversight, not enough, regrettably, and given that the Tri-Valley Dems have taken a position on Sheriff Oversight, I will tell you that Supervisor Miley has been a tremendous disappointment on Sheriff Oversight. All of his positions really sabotage any effective independent oversight. And it's a little ironic because on one hand, he says, oh, I'm not going to give up any of our power as a board of supervisors to some community oversight. Although, honestly, the oversight would be to make recommendations and reports to the board. But his historic position on the sheriff is that the board has no power over the sheriff because the sheriff is elected, despite the fact that the board holds the purse strings, which I've always found to be a very effective method of control and power. As such, you know, you never know with somebody who hasn't held office, and but Jennifer Epstein has a fairly good grip on the issues around oversight, and it is consistent with the positions and the work that she's done in the past that she says that she will be an effective voice for oversight. So I just wanted to share kind of what we've experienced on oversight issues as it relates to this race. And I just want to thank you all again. You have great meetings, and I kind of wish I did live in the Tri-Valley area.
You're always welcome. You're always welcome to our meetings anytime.
She spoke to us just recently.
Right. She's been here twice and always does a fabulous presentation. Thank you so much. Anybody else would like to speak? Ellis, come on up.
Sorry, I pulled out of the room and didn't hear everything she said about Jennifer, but like with Rhodesia Ransom, I had the pleasure of inviting Jennifer to speak at the club and spent considerable time with her, and I'd met her during the prior assembly race run. I told her about trust and competence. And I said, your narrative determines whether people are going to trust you. And then she laid her narrative on me. She had it right there. And it goes something like this. She moved from New Orleans with her husband. They had a couple of sons and got divorced. A lot of people that happens to. And she went on to become a psychiatric nurse in, I want to botch the name of the hospital, but I think it's San Francisco General, city-run hospital. And the people who came in to see her are frequently the street people, the people living on the street and the people in dire circumstances. And one day, a group of them came to her and said, we're being evicted. They apparently lived in some kind of low-cost city-operated housing. And of all people evicting them, it was the city of San Francisco. And she naively went down to the Board of Supervisors with a group of people and some of the other nurses and organized this thing. And they ignored her. So they shut down the meeting, and it got in the paper. And she came to the next meeting. Same thing happened. And finally, it had been on television and the newspaper enough so that one of the supervisors, and I remember the name, decided to do something about it. And this was the classical fighting City Hall. And she said she's going to have to do something beyond beating this nurse who's a part-time activist. And She went to a union and the union said, "You're a highly effective organizer." They made her a vice president. And she's a vice president of one of the nurses' unions. She's shown leadership, she's shown gumption, and she's shown where her heart is. And she has the tenacity and the guts to be a really effective supervisor. Now, I heard Nate here. He's a really good guy. I personally like Nate. But I think that Alameda County is ready for some new blood in the supervisor's seat, particularly in this area. And I think that she's going to represent a group of people who've been highly unrepresentative, mainly in the unincorporated areas in Alameda County. And it turns out she lives in one of them. I forget the one that's over the hill near Rodeo? Not Rodeo. I'm thinking of where the rodeo is. And anyway, Jennifer Esteen has my support. I ask you to vote for her. Thank you.
Okay, and the next speaker is Helen.
Hi, I just wanted to agree with the last two speakers. I am also on the Sheriff's Advisory Committee, and I totally agree. We need Jennifer. I think new blood is necessary, and I would totally endorse Jennifer. That's it.
Thank you, Helen. And I will check on your ballot as soon as the meeting's done.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else would like to speak regarding the supervisor? And Kyoko?
Sorry, keep talking about it, but I have seen how NetMighty actually works. Over the vaping stuff or the balloting stuff, I have been in the Board of Supervisors meeting a lot. And frankly, I don't trust him. And it's time for him to retire. The worst thing he does is he uses racial card. I'm the black, you don't know what I'm going through, therefore you shut up. That is not okay. So that's, me personally, I'm not the fan of the Supervisor Mighty. That's one thing. I met Jen back in 2020, and I have been talking to her on and off quite a lot because both of us care about healthcare. And I really, really like her. She is unstoppable. She gets idea and she goes with it. And especially for the Black women to get elected, they have to go over everybody else. And she was so close to the assembly race. I was hoping her to get at least, win the primary. She didn't. And Riz Ortega is doing a great job as we speak as a new assembly member. So that's probably okay. But this is her chance. And she knows unincorporated area, the people who live there, and she can represent them. And without that representation, unincorporated areas residents do not have any representation. So there is a municipal advisory committee, but that's just name only. She was one of them. I have seen her speak, and Ned Myrie, of course, he was the one who actually makes final decision and shut her off and so forth. It's just, it is time for them to have voice on it. And Jen is not a stranger to us either because of me and because she came to talk to Tribal Women's March. And she is willing to listen to anybody, and that's important. So she went through a lots of difficulty, so she knows how it is to be poor and to be oppressed, and that's really a good thing to be representing if they can actually use that experience applying to the jobs they do, and I believe she can. So I would like your support for Jen. Thank you.
Thank you, Kyoko. And- Okay. Anybody else? Okay, we're gonna move on to the last race. Oh, we have a hand up. I'm sorry, Richard. Didn't see you there.
That's okay. If we don't have time, we can also move on. I just wanted to plus one to everything that was said about Jen. She's really good. And her priorities are in the right place. And she genuinely listens to people. And if you think that it's time for a change on the Board of Supervisors and for them to start caring about some of the issues that have been happening in our communities for far too long, then Jennifer Esteen represents change, is all I'm going to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, anybody else? Okay, we're moving along at record speed, and we're going to come to the last race that we're considering. And we heard from Jean Josey last month, and we don't have anybody else, though I know there's other folks that are talking about it, and there is just to let people know that there is a chance, I guess, that in March they might put something on the ballot for extending term limits for the mayor and council, but that decision hasn't been made. I don't know when exactly it's going to be made. I just read that in the Independent the other day. But nobody else involved has contacted me or asked me to do anything different than to continue on with our endorsements tonight. So that's what we're going to do. And so, yes, please add. Well, we probably, well, I notice we can't, well, I know we, right, but I think you should come up. Now we let Jake do that.
Yeah, supposedly we're not supposed to let the candidates speak. But in any case, we have a clear choice here, a very easy choice to make. Jean Josey represents the best of points of view and the best of character. And so these are the two things that I would like to feature as being the main things that I like to see from candidates. One, I like to see character. I like to see an evolved sense of morality, someone who has a perspective on life in general that's above and beyond their own selfish gain and their own selfish means. So not just a position of a mom, not just a position of a mature woman, but someone who's actually aware of what are the issues that are important in life. So character also includes honesty, and that's all I've ever seen from Miss Josey. And it includes a sense of openness and vulnerability and willingness to listen. And those are main aspects that I feel are important. As a psychologist, you know, they paid me the big bucks in order to determine people's character and whether they feel that they're worthwhile in order to hire them for positions. So corporations ask me, is this person qualified to be a CEO? Should we pull this police chief off of off of duty simply because he's having some difficulties with his wife or drugs or various other things? Should this psychiatrist be banned from functioning? Should this doctor be not allowed to function in a hospital? These are the decisions that people ask me to make based on character and based on evaluations. And I think I've had enough of a sample of Jean Josey to be able to say that I wholeheartedly endorse her, based not only on the primary characterization, which I find is, the integrity, the character of the person, but also in terms of her ability to understand things intellectually. So another thing that I'm asked to do is to determine people's cognitive capabilities. Are they smart? Are they open to alternative ideas? Do their emotions override their intellect? Do their own individual biases override their choices? So I think she passes all of those hurdles very well, and I wholeheartedly endorse her for the position of mayor. Thank you.
I'd kind of like to echo to what Ron said, and because Jean has been here at the club working with us, and it's so nice to have that access to our leaders in the Tri-Valley, and she's always been here listening and taking heart to what our needs are. So I would also ask for you to endorse Jean. So Megan, go ahead and unmute yourself.
Thank you so much. Appreciate the opportunity to speak to you all tonight. I'm actually really excited. I enthusiastically support Jean Josey for mayor and encourage you all to lend your support to her as well for this endorsement and in this race. Jean has integrity. She is an incredible leader. She's a fabulous person. And I really trust her to make good decisions for all of us here in Dublin. I've lived in Dublin for more than 25 years here with my family. Our entire family actually supports Jean, and we just think she's doing a great job on city council, and she is the leader that we need in this next term for mayor, and I encourage you all to support Jean. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, and let's see, Megan, is your hand up just left over, I think. Who just spoke? Was it Megan? Okay, so that's just, okay, Helen, go ahead. Go ahead and unmute.
This is just a totally rhetorical question, but it's an unusual situation. What will they do? What will you do if they decide to extend the mayoral term? I mean, will we do this again?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I mean, I haven't been asked. Nobody asked me to hold off. Nobody reached out and said, you're doing this too early, which I don't think it's too early. The pre-endorsements are happening with the party next month. So I think this is your chance to weigh in. There is a write-in if you want to write somebody else in. Yes, Ellis?
Nothing in the bylaws about the method of withdrawing an endorsement. Basically, you jump off the cliff, you can't unjump. There's no means within.
Yeah, so the answer is no.
You get somebody.
Okay.
You're married to it. Dictates in a bylaw saying that we have to do it in particular topic or in particular. So we're just fine with our times and fine with our choices.
I don't know if you guys could hear Ron, but Ron is our parliamentarian, and he was just saying that there isn't anything in our bylaws about the time, but we can make that determination ourselves. And we do want to be there before the endorsements. are coming out, and this has been on our agenda. We've had it out there for months. And as a matter of fact, one of the council women came in, Sherry, I believe it is, came into the hall, walked in, saw what we were doing a month ago and walked back out and didn't say a word to me. So, you know, I'm not sure what to say. I'm moving forward with the endorsement tonight. But you guys are members. You can vote the way you want to vote. Anybody else would like to say something? Okay, we're gonna fit, okay. Again, regarding the process for tonight, I see a couple people have said, I don't have my ballot, I don't have my ballot. As soon as I end the Zoom call, because I don't want to put your personal information up on a projector here for everybody to see, I'm taking note here of who said they didn't get the ballot, and I will get that to you as soon as we close this meeting. So let me look back through the notes and see who did not receive a ballot. Okay, I have Christine Kanza, Megan, Alex, and Marisol. And I definitely know you guys are members, so I'm gonna get these right out to you guys. Phyllis and Thad, Helen, and Joanne. Right, so I will get those to you shortly. Just in case, I'm going to, if I have, here is my phone number. It's going to come from tvdimsmedia@gmail.com. It's going to come from the Google Drive, but you know, it may be hitting people's spam folder the way I'm sending it. So I may go ahead and send you guys a link instead. Maybe that will come through better. Okay, so Linda, you got yours, right? You're good. Is there anybody else that I may have missed that needs a ballot? Okay, I will. Oh, Jean, I'm sorry. You can't vote. No, I'm just kidding. Jean. Sorry, dear. Okay, we'll get those out just as soon as I close down the meeting. And if you have any problems or questions, you still don't get it by tomorrow morning, there's my phone number in case there's any issues or you have any problems with the ballot. We will then close it by tomorrow evening and send out the results to club members tomorrow evening. Yes, I did, Richard. I sent it earlier today. So, as a matter of fact, before I left, I think about 10 people had already filled it out. If you missed a meeting, you can find them all on our YouTube channel. The email that I sent out reminding people about the meeting has which speaker is on which date and where to find them. And the Adam Schiff event, we did a Facebook Live. So I included that link as well. For those who have Facebook, you can see the Adam Schiff one on Facebook. That's it for this section. The other thing I was just going to remind folks of is I sent out an invite for a UDC picnic. The TVDims are not having a picnic this year. The Tri-Valley United Democratic Campaign, which is the fundraising arm of the Alameda County Party. So we raise funds for the candidates that are endorsed by the party. So the party has not yet endorsed. They will be doing that next month. So then we'll find out who the Central Committee endorses. And then that's who the UDC will work for, you know, with flyers and working with the Central Committee to get out all that information to voters. So that's what the picnic is going to raise funds for. We've already received acknowledgement sponsor from Eric Swalwell, as well as Rebecca Barracahan. So they have both been very generous to us, and we appreciate them so much. The other thing is the unity dinner for the Central Committee is going to be October 28th. And I'll send information out to folks about that. It's going to be, oh, hi, Sean. It's going to be on the 28th, and it's going to be at the Oakland Airport Hilton. I will forward out all the information for those that would like to come. Our club is up for an award, so we may actually be winning a major award this year at the Central Committee. So if we could get some of our members to show up, that would be wonderful. And Sean, do you have something you'd like to say?
Well, I just wanted to chime in as the chair of the Central Committee Unity Dinner and congratulate you all. You all are actually winning Club of the Year. So congratulations, and we really look forward to seeing you all at the Unity Dinner out in force.
All right. Actually, a little birdie told me that, but I didn't know if I could say anything yet.
The email is going out tomorrow, so yes.
It's going out tomorrow. Thank you. So you guys, you made us the Club of the Year with Alameda County. Okay, that's a big deal. That's a big deal. Thank you so much, Sean. And now I have to go to the party. Okay. Any other announcements from anyone? Oh, and there is the Act Blue link that you can purchase your tickets tonight. So get out there and purchase a ticket. And if anybody wants to drive with me, let me know. Okay. Well, we just talked about it. I shared, by the way, Ron's band's going to be playing at the party. We're going to have tri-tip and chicken and all kinds of appetizers, including a nice spread for vegans. So we try to get good food out there. We'll have good music. Unfortunately, Eric and Rebecca both cannot come, but hopefully their campaign people will send some folks over. And we're doing fun raffles, and yes. Well, it's the city of Livermore lets you have wine and beer. Okay, so it's not an open bar, it's wine, beer, sodas. Okay. But you know, we love to see you come by and you know, support your local Democrats and come by and have some food and talk to people about your campaign. So yeah, come on by. Check out the sponsorships. If you want to speak, you got to get a sponsorship. Maybe Eric Swalwell will let you speak when his time. Any other announcements, anyone? We can talk after this. I don't think the membership wants to go through that, but yeah, we have time since we're ending early to sit down and talk about some of that. Okay.
We have time to talk about the
Oh yeah, Ellis wanted to have a conversation about sending a letter to the Secretary of State asking that that Donald Trump be removed from the ballot because he's not qualified under the 14th Amendment, Section 3 regarding insurrectionists. So Ellis would like to have that. Sean, did you have any other comments before we go on to this subject?
Sorry, just really quickly, I am here wearing multiple hats this evening. So I'm also political director for Congresswoman Barbara Lee, my representative. I don't know if you all heard today, but she was endorsed by our state insurance commissioner, Ricardo Lara. And I'm just going to put in the chat, if any of you want to get more involved in the campaign, I believe my colleague Amy is there. But also here's a link where folks can endorse or sign up to volunteer.
Thank you, Sean.
Thanks.
Okay, Alice, come on up and make your case.
Okay. As I stated at the last meeting, I was going to compose a letter to the Secretary of State, Shirley Weber. And this is basically the content. I'll summarize it. I tell her we're representing the Tri-Valley Democratic Club. I tell them who we are, where we are in the Tri-Valley, and asked that she disqualify Donald Trump from the 2024 presidential ballot in California. Trump is in clear violation of 14th Amendment, Section 3. And I go and state it as Jackie did the other day, and anybody can look at it online. But it's basically anybody who gets involved in insurrection cannot run for office. The Secretary of State's website says that her official duties are certifying the official list of candidates running for state offices and advise candidates and local election officials on the qualifications and requirements for running for office. I'm telling her that her charter is to do this. I'm saying, do your job. This isn't grabbing something out of thin air. And as far as making the case for this, we not only find that high law professors in both the Federalist Society, which is, the very conservative end of the political spectrum, and on our side, progressive law professors like Lawrence Tribe and J. Michael Ludwig, both, Ludwig is an former Applegate judge. They both say the same thing. Trump has to be kept from the ballot. Several states have already taken the initiative. A Florida case was thrown out. I don't go into that here because the lawyer apparently wasn't considered having standing. But there seems to be a strong case in Colorado and New Hampshire. And I'm asking the Secretary of State to take the lead on the part of California. Now, some people say this is haunting them and they would come back and do the same thing to us. In fact, Stephanie Rule said that the other night on MSNBC. My friend Alan back there likes to use this comparison. When he was playing with his brother had a BB gun, a pellet gun, and Alan had a cap gun. We can't take on the Republicans with a cap gun. We can't be afraid to kick them when they're down, when they deserve it. We can't be afraid to play by the same rules when they're on the other side of the aisle. So we just have to take them on. I saw Zelensky on television last night on 60 Minutes. He points out that Ukraine is saving the world from World War III, and it's also saving democracy. Democracy is on the line in this election. I know I've gotten up here before in the last dozen or so elections and said just about the same thing, that the price couldn't be higher. But I was never able to say that it's democracy. And this is just one little step in stopping Trump. We've been a leading club, and we were the first to endorse Bernie Sanders, the first to endorse Eric Swalwell, and the first to endorse a number of measures, some successful, some not successful. But we may not be the biggest club, we may not be the richest club, but we're frequently the tip of the spear. Let's stay that way. Thank you. Ron?
Yes, this seems like this is something that government should know to.
Well, that's why I'm bringing it up. I'm thinking tonight, I announced at last meeting that I'd be writing this letter and essentially what the content was. And you want me to read the whole thing? I'll read the whole thing. Okay. Here we go. On behalf, Jackie has a copy of this.
And for folks that can't hear what Ron's saying is he suggested that we put it to a vote. So there's a motion to put this to a vote. Ellis is going to go ahead and read the full letter.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it. Okay. On behalf of the Tri-Valley Club in Dublin, Pleasanton, Livermore, and the Tri-Valley area, you were asked to disqualify Donald Trump from the 2024 presidential ballot in California. Trump is in clear violation of the 14th Amendment, Section 3, which states, disqualification from holding office. No person shall be a senator or representative in Congress or elector of president and vice president or hold any office, civil or military, under the United States or under any state who having previously taken an oath as a member of Congress or as an officer of the United States or as a member of any state legislature or as an executive or judicial officer of any state to support the Constitution of the United States shall have engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the same, or given aid or comfort to the enemies thereof. But Congress may, by a vote of 2/3 of each house, remove some disability. That's what the Constitution says. The most recent evidence he participated in an insurrection are his attempts to reverse the 2020 election outcome, which amounted to an insurrection. His participation in the attempted overthrow of the 2020 presidential election and his actions on January 6th, 2021. The Secretary of State's website, this is the California Secretary of State, the Secretary of State's Election Division has a wide variety of responsibilities in administering elections in California. Among these many duties, the Election Division, Bullet 1, certifies the official list of candidates running for office. Bullet 2, advises candidates and local election officials on the qualifications and requirements for running for office. You are asked to advise the Trump campaign that he cannot be certified to be on the ballot in California because he violated the 14th Amendment of the Constitution. You are also asked to vigorously defend this decision in courts and escalate the issue to the California Supreme Court should your decision be challenged. Making the case. Conservative Originalist Federalist Society of Law professors William Bard of the University of Chicago and Michael Stokes Paulson of the University of St. Thomas studied the question for more than a year and detailed their findings in a 126-page article to be published next year in the University of Pennsylvania Law Review. The article's conclusion, and I quote, Donald Trump cannot be president, cannot run for president, cannot become president, cannot hold office unless 2/3 of Congress decides to grant him amnesty for his conduct on January 6th. In an article in The Atlantic, liberal law professor Lawrence Tribe and J. Michael Ludwig, the former federal Applegate judge and prominent conservative, both argue that the 14th Amendment disqualifies the president from returning to the Oval Office. The articles from legal scholars amount to opinions at this time. Legal actions have been taken in several states with new actions reportedly in progress. California frequently leads other states, particularly in governance. Please take this opportunity to stand as the model for the other secretaries of state across the nation by prohibiting Trump from appearing on the 2024 ballot. If we vote to do this, I will write another paragraph saying that on this night, the club voted to send you this letter.
You should also send a copy to Rob on.
Another story. I can copy whoever.
Perfect, perfect. So let's hold a vote on that.
Oh, well, does anybody else have any comment?
Oh, I think this is just wonderful work, Alex. This is so well written and so poignant. This is just important.
So we're gonna hold a vote on that. For those online that are members, if you want to vote on this, so all in favor, raise your virtual hand. And we'll see, and here in the room, Ellis, if you could move over here so I can see everybody. Let me, gallery. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 in the room.
Are we all members?
Yep. 9 in the room, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, you guys moving around. Keep your hands up. 1, 2, 9 and 6. Anybody? Okay, if you could lower your hands. Can I? Okay, and anybody opposed, raise your hand. Anybody opposed to sending this letter? So
Say unanimous.
that's unanimous. That is a unanimous vote. And so as political director, Ellis, I would like you to put this in your name. And if you just send, you want me to do it, or you want to do it in your name? Okay, if you'll do that, and you want to send me your signature, we can actually put letterhead on it and attach yours. Make it official. Okay.
Is there any, send this to?
Well, depending on writing a press.
Nobody's going to be able to hear you over there, so you're going to have to come talk over here.
I came up with this law a while ago, but the tree falls in the political forest and nobody hears it. It truly doesn't make a sound. So sending out press releases makes a large amount of sense. Sending it to the Alameda County Central Committee and the Contra Costa Central Committee and the various clubs in those organizations makes a lot of sense. We'll not only write a press release for this, but also for our endorsement of candidates earlier tonight, 2 separate press releases, and send them around, and maybe we'll get some press out of it, and maybe we'll get the letter in the Livermore Independent, because Joan seems to be more inclined to do that, being a member of the club.
You'd always submit the letter to the edit as just a comment for the paper.
Right, but
get
the letter is from the club, not just from me personally. And that gives it, and so is the press release.
And it's better as a press release because it makes it into the body of the newspaper rather than the editorial or comment section, and it's much stronger.
Yeah.
Right, so Ellis has got not only the good work in doing the write-up of this, but also in terms of his work. So thank you much, Ellis, for doing the work for us, the TV.
My pleasure.
Okay, so that concludes our meeting this month. We're going to be finishing early. I will send out, like I said, we'll keep the ballots open till tomorrow. let's say around 5 p.m. and then I will calculate everything and send out the announcements. So again, if anybody else did not get a ballot, let me know now. Okay.
I think some people came in late.
Well, I did recap everything, I think, since they came in, and everybody should have a ballot that's club members, but there were several on the call that did not. I have your names. I sent you my phone number in the chat. Again, let me do this. There's my email if anybody has any problems, questions. For those that I gathered your name tonight, you should be getting it shortly in an email from TVDM's media at gmail.com. Make sure to check your spam folders. And that concludes our meeting. Everybody have a good evening.
Wonderful. Good meeting. Yay, flag down. Here's my ballot from tonight.